guys, it's Kelly and I'm back again with another video. Today's video is featuring some products from Lawn Fawn. I am using the Really High 5 stamps and dies and then the Slide On Over dies. His birthday's in May, so it's been 1.5 months. This is actually Peanut's birthday card that I never had an opportunity to share with you guys. So the Slide On Over from Lawn Fawn is the original of their sliding dies. It has a lot of other ones that you can get. This is the OG Slide On Over. It has semicircles, it has waves, it has a lot of fun interactive ones. I ended up I was looking for, because you guys know that I like to do theme cards. I was specifically looking for a card that I could do a trampoline with, because that's the kind of party that he was having this year. And so after scouring the internet, these were by far the cutest ones that I could locate. And I love Kelly Marie, so I was like, yeah, let's go with this. So I decided that I was going to make it a slider so that my little guy would be able to jump on his trampoline. So what you see me doing here is kind of like the dry fit of card making to make sure everything that I want is going to fit where I need it to go. And then once I know all of the parts that I'm going to need to complete the card, then I can lay them out on a piece of white cardstock and do my stamping so that I can get into my coloring. So we are heading into 4th of July weekend. And so I do just want to note Lawn Fawn has a lot of wholesalers, but scrapbook.com is having a sale right now that's 10% off your entire order. And they carry a ton of companies. And these are over there. All of the things that I'm using today are over there for 10% off. So if you're interested in picking them up, you might as well get a discount. And you guys know I do genuinely try to update my craft and deals page with the sales and deals that I come across in the industry. So I will link that below as well. I haven't really seen too many so far. I'm assuming they're probably saving them for the weekend. So let's talk about the coloring. I chose there's a lot of different critters in there. I went with the ones that made the most sense for how I was arranging my card. So I wanted one character in the middle, which turns out to be my fox. And then I needed one character facing left and one character facing right so that everything would be balanced in where my focal point and my sentiment was. So I chose the cute little mouse and I colored him in cool grays. And then I went in and did the bunny, and I chose to do him in some warm browns. And then the fox I will do in some reddish browns. So this, normally I do, their cards are on theme, and we would typically have, whatever their birthday theme was here. And I would make, Peanut's been getting the ice cream cakes the last couple of years, but I would make cupcakes, we would decorate, all in the theme, and we would have a bunch of friends and family over. Since Mom was sick, and we were obviously caring for her while, we're getting ready to celebrate his birthday. Also, to note, we had to celebrate his birthday the full-on week before his birthday because his birthday fell smack dab in the middle of the week. It was on a Wednesday, and his dad was going to have him for his actual birthday, so we had to go a full week and a half early for the weekend that we had him. And I was, with my sisters and my dad with Mom, and we had told Peanut, if it happens to work out that way, because I can't be at your birthday party, I will do dinner. We'll do dinner with Nana, because obviously we weren't going to leave Mom, but also we didn't want to run the risk of, being exposed to a bunch of people and then, coming that and exposing to her because her immune system was down. So here I'm repeating those cool grays for my bellies and my ears for my characters, but it was not looking so nice with my warmer browns. So what you saw me just do there was just go in with a warm gray, just a 1. It's not going to add any extra like color or depth. It's just going to kind of tone that gray to be a little bit more neutral. Here I'm adding little blushed cheeks because I can't help myself and I think it's adorable. I felt like I lost a little bit of darkness when I was going over my my darker areas. So I'm just going back in with my darker colors and kind of re-inputting those shadows, like just, you know, really making sure that they're in there so that we can get that kind of depth and dimension that we like. I did have to kind of blend out the one on the mouse just a little bit, but that's okay. So those are my cute little characters from there. The actual trampoline place, their colors are hideous. I shouldn't say that. Their colors are like Mardi Gras. It's like black with yellow and green and purple. I cannot get behind that. So I did mine in primary colors, but I did color my trampoline, like the center of it black. We have one of these trampolines, the little like smaller trampolines. I can't even remember. Did I tell you guys how I got that? Briefly, I had been in the market and I had been looking for one. Here, I'm just trying to match the colors of my cardstock with the markers that I have. So I'm going to do them, like I said, primary colors, red, yellow, blue. And so I'd been in the market and I had been looking for like a little teeny tiny trampoline, like I guess they call them like exercise trampolines. Nathan used to have one when he was little and he loved it. And I knew that Jelly Bean would absolutely love hers if I could find one. So I had been looking like Facebook Marketplace and like nothing really ever came up. And I was going to pick up Jelly Bean from a daycare, and like the house right next to her daycare, like the woman was literally walking it out to the curb when I pulled up. And I got out and I was like, excuse me, is there anything wrong? She was like, no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly good. We just don't need it anymore. Please take it. So I just rolled it right over and put it in my trunk. Like, I am not too proud. Free is free. So I did wash it and stuff when I got home, but we still have it. She jumps on it almost every day. And, Peanut still jumps on it too. So anyway. Coloring the balloons, you guys have seen me probably do this before, unless you're new here. I like to leave a little lip around the edge for some reflective light. So I add my darkest color kind of up from the bottom where it would be gathered to be tied, and then up around the sides. My mid-tone, I go right over that darkest color and then connect my circle at the top. And then my lightest color fills in that area around the edge and in the center of the balloon. And this helps them to look a little bit more transparent. I opted to do the, here, I was feeling like for some reason those were not as bold. I don't know why, but I opted to do that trampoline red, just to bring in another element that was red, because I knew that I was going to have, like the way that they were arranged, I was going to have like a yellow and a blue balloon together, and then I was only going to have one red right at the bottom, and I needed another red element. So anyway, here just lining up the dies, and I'm going to secure them in place with some pixie tape. Oh, we got totally sidetracked from the trampoline. So anyway, so the colors, they were not good. So I decided that I was going to just do the primary colors. And like that was going to be, that I was going to call it good because I did not like the colors that the actual trampoline park was. So because everything was kind of going on with my mom at the same time, this is the first birthday of either one of my kids that like I pretty much had nothing to do with. My husband, stepped up in innumerable ways during the time that my mom was in hospice. and then, after she has passed. But this was a huge one because I normally am the party planner, happily so. I like planning my kids' birthdays and doing the themes and making the things. But it just was outside of my capacity this time around. And so he totally stepped up. He did his invitations. He sent it out to everybody. He got all of the food, all of the decorations. He got his gift after we decided what we were going to do with it, what we were going to get him. And he totally hit a home run. He knocked it out of the park. He was so good about it. And I am so grateful for such a, just a supportive spouse, because I know not everybody is blessed enough to have that. And I am. So I am very, very grateful. Okay. Back to the card. So here, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing or what size my things need to be. So that's why, again, I'm kind of dry fitting this. And I do it not only because it makes the measure twice, cut once kind of theory, but especially when it comes to interactive cards, because they are not something that I make all the time. I am not the most confident with them. So I would rather check it once, twice, 4 times before I cut, than to not check it and then have to start all over again. So here is where I decided I was going to do the red, because I have the red color. This color blocking. The background is color blocking. The red color block on the right, the red balloon on the left, and then I needed, like I said, another red element. So the red trampoline made the most sense there. And then, doing the sentiment. So here we're going to start working on the actual card positioning and the slider element. So here I'm just trimming out my pieces. I made each of them 1 inch wide, and they were 5.5 long. So that way I didn't have to worry about them kind of being cut short on my trampoline. This one's actually a little bit longer because it was a scrap piece of paper. But anyway, you see what I'm going for here. The trampoline at the bottom, the color blocking, because in the actual, I don't know how many of you have been in a trampoline place lately. I cannot jump on a trampoline anymore. That's past me now. But it's the whole bottom is just trampolines, and there's just little bridges in between where you can kind of wait for your next turn to jump, or if you need a little breather. So here what I'm doing is, and I'm super glad that I did this, because this is where after I got everything positioned, this is where I figured out in doing my fox, because I wanted my fox to slide up and down, my bunny was actually too close to my fox. So if I wouldn't have checked it, it would not have worked out. So now that I know all the things that I'm doing, I can go ahead and glue down the red and yellow stripes. So that way I have that's going to create that blue rectangle in the center. The reason that I chose to do the background blue is because I have another piece of that blue cardstock. I can't even remember what it's called. All of it's by Spellbinders. I'll link it below. Who also was having a 4th of July sale, by the way, 40% off. But anyway, so here when I do it that way, I will be able to die cut my slider through both the black piece at the bottom, which is acting as, my pseudo extra trampoline area, and the blue paper at the top, because you want to put basically you want to do tone on tone, so that way you can see the blue through the die cut, and it blends in better, is basically what you're trying to do. So you'll still be able to see the channel, but it does blend in easier if you put it tone on tone, so the same colored cardstock. So there, I figured out where it needs to go, and it's going to butt right up against that black part. I didn't actually cut through the black because I didn't need to. My fox, depending upon where I adhere him on that track, will come down far enough to touch the trampoline. So there's my slider. This is one of the shorter ones in there. Here's my other piece of blue cardstock so you can see how that's blending. And now I can get my penny. Here is my penny. This is how this whole thing works. And obviously you could use whatever change you have, but penny's the cheapest. So this is the world's best foam tape. This is sold by Pear Blossom Press. It's also sold by a couple of other wholesalers, especially like companies that do produce a lot of like shaker items, like Trinity Stamps carries it. And I wanted to try it for quite some time because I do like Amanda's products, the Pear Blossom Press, the light up products and things like that. And I don't like having to do the one layer of foam tape and then another layer of foam tape. I don't like having to do all that when I'm making shaker cards. So this foam tape is double thick. So I don't have to double it because it already is. So that's super nice. And it peels off really nicely. So what you see me doing there is putting all of the foam tape because I need to have room for the slider to slide. Then I flipped it over and I put a small piece of that foam tape on the other side of the penny. That is what my fox is going to sit on in order to slide. And so I put that on and then I want to flip it over and I'm going to basically trap my penny in between that foam tape and the back of the front with the foam tape and the back of the card. So here I'm going to put my fox on. And depending upon where you adhere him, see how he slides. But if I see how low he is, when he comes down, he is too far down. He's way past my trampoline. So now I put my foam back there and now I put his head up there. And that's the wrong way. I don't want to do that. I need his feet to stop, to be the stopper. So then I put it back on. See, it's all just kind of like giving it a try. So if you don't want your character to come down as low, you want your foam tape to be low on your character. If you want your character to come down lower than your channel, then you put the foam tape at the top of his head. Now, in addition to my fox moving, I wanted my little balloon to kind of like raise up and down. Like it's a birthday card, right? So we want to have like the balloon that he's holding go up and down with him as well. This is a little bit tricky because that mechanism is only glued to the fox. It is not glued to the balloon. So when I put my balloon on my string, my balloon is basically just hanging out there. The only thing that's tethering my balloon to my fox, to my card, is that little tiny piece that the fox would be holding. So I did vigorously test this out and I had no issues with my balloon staying where I put it, which was right in his little hand there. But please know that you don't want to adhere your balloon down because then it will not slide. It will not slide up and down because you'll have affixed the balloon and consequently your fox will also be anchored to wherever that balloon is. So here what I'm doing is, this is nothing new. If you've watched my videos before, I'm blending in my little fox to my background. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I don't love a white outline. So I am coloring all the white outlines blue. Yes, I know when the balloon comes up above the card like it is now, it will have a blue around it. I'm okay with it because the balloon is blue. And then when he comes down on the trampoline, his feet will also be blue. Again, I don't think that's a super huge deal because the majority of the time he's going to be somewhere in between on the blue background. So now I'm positioning everything, and then see how when I bring him down that he bumps that bunny right out of the way. He kind of like booty bumps him with his tail. It's because he was too close. And if I would not have checked and checked and checked, then I would not even have realized that I needed to change my card design. So now instead of my bunny being down into the bottom left, I moved him up higher, and I moved my mouse down into the bottom right so that I would have a good balance, because I still need that card balance, even though, the design is interactive. That's still something that we have to kind of pay attention to. So now I know that that's going to work much better because I don't have the fox's tail sticking out front. I can put the mouse closer to the fox, and then I can have the bunny be kind of up into the top left to create that balance. Here we're just getting these balloons in place, and these ones, obviously these characters are not sliding, though I'm sure you probably could swing that if you wanted. You could do a bunch of channels so they were all kind of sliding all over the place. That would be really fun. But I just left them there and left it so only my fox was the sliding piece. So anywho, my husband was fantastic. He set up all of the things, and we were trying to find a way, to the best of our ability. We were trying to find a way for him to still be able to celebrate his birthday and not feel like he was getting shortchanged somehow, because of everything, of mom being sick and everything that was going on with mom. So here you can see I've already blended in those white outlines just like you saw me do before. I'm going in and adding some highlights with my white gel pen. And I apologize that it's gone out of focus. This is before I recognized the settings that needed to be changed. So sometimes it happens. So I'm doing some white highlights to my little animals as well as my trampoline. And then even though there's the legs of the trampoline are black, I'm still going to fill in that area around it black because I need it to blend in. I did not like it sticking out like a sore thumb. And the legs, even though they are colored black, do have like little silver sections and white highlights. And so you can still see them, and I'm okay with that. For the shine aspect, because this is for my son, who's 12, I didn't think he would appreciate the glitter aspect of his mother putting the shine on his card. So instead, I opted for glossy accents onto his balloons. And I find that I have the best results if I go around the edge, kind of like build a dam around the edge, and then I fill in the rest of the object. I did the balloon on the slider, even though it's going to make it a little bit heavier. It's not going to make it impossible for it to slide, especially not once it's dry. So here you'll see I'm going in, and what I'm doing is I am popping the little air bubbles. Sometimes that happens when you're applying glossy accents, and you want to make sure that you pop those air bubbles, or they will cause like divots. They'll have little divots, and you'll be able to see the little bubble. For it to be smooth, you got to pop those. And then for the sentiment, the actual name of the set is Really High Five. It's not like it is a trampoline set, but it's Really High Five. That's the name of the set. So I went with Happy Birthday for the sentiment, but the top of it says Jumping Up to Say Happy Birthday. Isn't that cute? It rhymes. So anyway, we wanted him to have a mostly normal birthday, as normal as it could be. And right before that weekend is when mom had kind of taken a turn. And so we were hoping, like best case scenario, that it wasn't on my sister's birthday or my son's birthday. And thankfully it was not. But I am like, as much as it kills me as a mom to miss his birthday party, I am glad that I was with mom, because in the scheme of things, it was more important for me to be there. With him being 12 and running around with his friends, and all of Eric's family was there with him, and he had all his friends, and my best friend, his godmother was there with my goddaughter. So he was, he got to run around and have a good time instead of, a kind of a melancholy birthday, which my mom would not have wanted for him. Like, he was her boy. That would not have done it all. So here I'm showing you, nobody is perfect. Did you see what I just did there? Do you see my little fist? I'm shaking my fist at myself. So I was checking to see if I wanted to add anything else. And what I did was stick the back of my stamp set right into my wet glossy accents, because I wasn't being patient and I wasn't waiting until it was dry to continue putting the things together. So I went back in, I put in more glossy accents, and then I am going to use this little trick, which I actually learned to do from nail polish. So if you put a little bit of water on your finger, this works with nail polish too, with like a top coat, and you swipe it over the wet area, you can smooth it out without your finger sticking. Now, you do need to have a significant amount of water on your finger. Like, it shouldn't be dripping, but it shouldn't be dry. And you can start to tell when it gets dry, and then you need to pick up more water. It's almost like kind of putting the water on your finger if you break an eggshell into, like if you're trying to get the shell out of your egg, because that water breaks the tension, you can scoop it out. It works the same way. But anyway, here is the card. I was super happy with the way that it came out. He slides really nicely, super cute. So I hope that this inspires you guys to give those slide on over dies a try, or any other active dies like that you have. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.